The crazy thing about Andrew Tate is he oddly is one of the biggest proponents in favor of the Matrix than anybody. The persona that he plays, the stuff that he hypes up, it really is actually a trap, because he's promoting quote unquote freedom through riches, right? And I can't think of anything that would enslave the human soul and the human mind than trying to make riches, right? The more you try to get rich, the more you feel enslaved, right? What is it in the Bible? Hebrews chapter 13 verse 5, it says something like, let your life be without the love of money, because God, knows your needs and he'll provide for you. And it says that throughout the Bible, right? Is that we shouldn't serve God and mammon being self-gain, right? And then it also says elsewhere that money is a root of all evil, or the love of money is a root of all evil, excuse me. And it doesn't say the root of all evil, by the way. It says a root. So there's different roots of evil. But mammon, or money, is one of the biggest ways. And if you trace it back, money is usury, meaning it's kind of slavery when you break it down, right? Wanting to get money to get free is like, instead of looking to God to supply your needs, instead of enjoying what's at hand, instead of living your life, enjoying things, people are trying to put all their interest and energy into making more money, so then they can get free once they make 10 million, 20 million, or however much they think they need to give them this happy life. And what they don't realize is that, well, what somebody like Andrew Tate is coercing them into not realizing is that is a form of slavery, trying to make money, right? There's nothing wrong with making money per se. There's nothing wrong with using money to do fun things per se. There's nothing wrong with wanting to have a certain amount of money to live a certain type of lifestyle. But the question is, what do you have to do to get that, right? And most people, the world is not set up for everybody to be rich. So anybody who's coming along and telling you that you can be rich is a profiteer. They're selling something. They're selling themselves. They're selling some kind of program. Anybody coming along and telling you, oh, you can get rich, is trying to put a carrot in front of your face with this pie in the sky kind of dream, which it sells to all of our sensibilities. We all want to live a nicer life. We all want to have nicer things. We all want to be motivated and successful and accomplished and competent, etc. We all want these things. These are basic human needs. And when you needs and wants, I should say, not necessarily needs. Basic human needs are food, shelter, and rest and clothing, right? Food, water, right? Those are basic needs. But basic wants, we want to be free from toil, free from stress, free from a life of poverty. Nobody wants to be poor, and many people have experienced poverty. Excuse me. Many people have experienced poverty. Many people have experienced living below their means, and they don't want to go back to that. They've got some kind of taste of it, whether they've seen it, they've seen homeless people, or they've experienced it themselves. It's a motivation. So these profiteers, these marketers, Andrew Tate's a marketer, right? They pinpoint and figure out your your fears and your desires, and then they use that in their marketing scheme and in their marketing pitches and their marketing speeches to kind of motivate you to give them money, right? Or use motivation as a means to empower themselves and to, make money for themselves, right? All self-improvement people do this. All the self-improvement gurus do this. Whether it's pickup artistry or just general self-improvement, learn how to be more masculine, all this kind of stuff comes from those fears, right? And what does that do? It doesn't teach you to be happy. It doesn't teach you to be to enjoy your life, to enjoy the moment. It doesn't teach you to enjoy your surroundings. It doesn't teach you to enjoy what you have already. It teaches you to sort of invest in the future, which on face value, there's nothing necessary. It doesn't seem like there's anything wrong with that on face value. But when you think about it, what you're doing is you are putting off your happiness today. You're putting off your enjoyment of life today in order to have this concept, this conceptual happy life down the road, right? So, I need to work hard and put in all these hours now so that 10 years from now, I can have $10 million and then I'll live this life that I wanted, that I've always wanted. It'll be so amazing, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not saying that can't work. I'm not saying that that's not possible, but I'm saying for most people, it's probably not viable. If you do just basic statistics, how many people are going to be millionaires in 10 years? It's probably very, very low percentage of people just in general. 1%? I think they call it the 1%. So 1% of all the people in the world are going to be millionaires in 10 years, or 1% of all the people even trying to be millionaires. I don't know. It's very low percentage. Success is, in that sense, is very limited. So it's not that you can't do it. It's just that the odds are not in your favor, right? But even if you did make it, what do you got to go through to get there, right? What kind of life do you have to live for the next 10 years in order to get to that place? Do you have to sacrifice all your happiness, all your time, all your freedom, all your friendships, all your relationships, right? Sacrifice everything in order to get to that goal? Is it worth it? Think of all the stuff that you would miss in that 10 years. For what? For something that's not even guaranteed. For something that could be taken away from you very quickly for whatever reason. You could lose your business, you could lose your health, you could lose anything. Is it worth it? I spent probably 5 years of my life learning to become a basketball player. I wanted to play in the NBA. Didn't know when I first started out that, I had no one around me to tell me, hey, that's not a viable dream. That's not something that's attainable. But I got good. I put in the work, practiced 2 to 3 hours every day, literally every day. Got good enough that, I made varsity on my high school basketball team. Didn't realize I wasn't good enough until a couple of years after I graduated high school, because I didn't know anything. I wasn't smart. You're 60. You're starting out 14, 15 years old. You don't know how good you're going to be. 13 years old. You don't know anything. You just have a hope. But if I had the right people around me who told me, hey, you're supposed to be in these AAU leagues, you're supposed to be in these summer leagues, These are the guys you're going up against. They're like 14 years old. They're dunking. They're scoring like 25 points a game. You're putting up like 10 points a game. You're not even close to these guys. And these are the guys who are getting recruited by top colleges. Some of these guys, like LeBron. I can't say his freaking name. LeBron James was graduating in my class. He was in my class, same age as me, LeBron James. I couldn't hold a candle to LeBron James. I probably wouldn't even score 2 points against him. I didn't know that I wasn't good enough. I didn't know I didn't have what it takes. I didn't know the environment. I didn't know the circumstances. There's people out there competing who are way more talented than you, way smarter than you. I'm not telling you can't do something. I'm not telling you can't make it. I'm just saying, look at the reality. The reality is, unless you're like extremely talented, extremely smart, and you know it, your pie in the sky dream that Andrew Tate sold you is probably not going to work out. Right? So my thing is this: why not just enjoy your life today? Why not just learn how to be happy today? Learn how to, you know what, I'm gonna build something. I'm gonna create something. I'm gonna write something. I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna enjoy nature. I'm going to learn how to play the guitar, play some good music. I'm gonna work out. Makes me feel good. Get my endorphins going. I'm all for self-improvement as long as it's, benefiting you, not only in the long run, but in the short term as well. A lot of times we put off, and like I said, when I played basketball, I did this. I put off short-term happiness. I missed out on being a kid. I missed out on a lot of years because I was so focused and dedicated, and I was good, and I got better. I don't think basketball was my natural talent. My natural talent, I was good at baseball and I was good at football, naturally. Naturally, I had talents for those two sports. I wasn't good at basketball. I started out just not good. I got good, but I still wasn't even close to being as good as the top guys, the guys who were going to go to the NBA. I wasn't even close. I probably was good enough to make a Division II, if I really kept working on it after I turned 18. When I turned 18 and 19, I realized, this isn't going to work. I'm not good enough. But if I kept working at it, potentially I could have, maybe played D2, maybe went overseas somewhere and could have had a decent little professional career. Possibly. But even then, for personal reasons, I had a sleep issue, insomnia issue, and it just wouldn't have worked out. But I had the potential talent to probably maybe play in frickin' Yugoslavia or someplace, some low tier professional play. Maybe. You watch those guys and you're like, those guys aren't that good, And I did. I actually did try out for a Division II team, university, in my mid-20s, and I hadn't even been working out. I hadn't been. I had the talent. I had skill. I don't know if I should say talent. I had skill, because eventually I got better. After I hit 18, 19, it was almost like those years kind of exponentially helped me. And I got good to where I'm past this learning curve. Looking back, I've got all these special moments where I had this amazing game, or had this crazy cool pass, or I did this amazing layup, or I had this game where I scored 30 points, or you have certain things that you look back on and you're like, that's pretty cool. But if you're not doing that every single game, you're probably not going to make it professionally. I didn't know that. So I had no one telling me So somebody like Andrew Tate who's selling you something like that, he doesn't care about you. He just wants you to follow him, give him attention, build up his ego, act like he's God, and give him money. And that's how he makes money off of, you know, low self-esteem guys, right? Sell them the dream. Oh, you can make it. You can become a millionaire. Blah blah blah. When in reality, it's an extreme. The world is a competitive market. Now, again, I'm not saying it's not possible. Things are possible, but are they probable? Right? That's what you have to ask yourself. Is this worth it? Am I? Oh, I've got this dream. I'm gonna go work super hard and save all this money and da da da. And you don't know anything. You don't realize that like it just doesn't work like that. And in so many cases, I'm not saying it's not possible. It's just, why not enjoy what you have today? And it's like, I'm not saying you can't plan for the future. Like, hey, maybe you could invest. Maybe you could figure something out on the side for passive income. Maybe you could even have a goal or a plan for a business, things like that. You can put money aside, things like that. But if you're like psychologically so invested in becoming a millionaire that you think that you need to like give up your happiness today, or you think you need to like be so disciplined, because this is the stuff that like Andrew Tate is teaching. Oh, you got to be so focused. Like, I heard him say something like, I'm never not working. Even when I'm sleeping, I'm working. Even when I'm sleeping, I've got my phone and I wake up and I take business calls and do it. I just don't believe that, first of all. Second of all, he's not you and you're not him, and he's got different circumstances than you. And this is the thing, you can't, oh, well, Warren Buffett does this, so I'm going to do exactly what Warren Buffett does. And it's just like, you live this life where you're sucked into like trying to emulate somebody who has the type of success that you will never have. Because his circumstances are different than your circumstances, and his talents and dispositional gifts are probably way better than yours, or they're just, I can't rap like Snoop Dogg or somebody. I can't. That's just inborn talent. There's something to be said for skills. There's something to be said for acquiring skills. There's something to be said for working hard and gaining something true. But there's also comes a time when you need to realize your limitations. You need to realize that, like, hey, I'm just average, and it's like, I would like to be exceptional, but I'm just not exceptional. And there's kind of a comfort in just realizing that. And it's not quitting. It's not downplaying yourself. It's, because they get you. This is where these motivators, they get you, is like, they try to make you feel like a loser if you're average. They try to make you feel like a loser if you're not as successful as them, or if you're not a millionaire like they are, or if you're not this and you're not that. So I would say that Andrew Tate is really somebody who's working for the Matrix in that sense. Somebody who kind of strings you along with like, oh, I've got all this wisdom about the red pill. I know all this stuff about life, and I'm going to speak all this, I hype up discipline and this, that, and the third, and I'm charming and I'm charismatic. But then also they'll say things that really kind of put you down, really kind of keep you in a box, keep you thinking, oh, I'll never, this is how people who like, how do I put it? People who are like real master manipulators. They prop themselves up and posture themselves as if they're this super successful person, and you should want to be just like them, and you should do everything they do, and they're so disciplined, and they always put themselves like above reproach, and like, like they're just always successful, and they never take losses, or they might even say they take a loss just to kind of endear you to this guy, even though he's so successful, he still can take a loss, or he can still he's still humble, like This is just, what cult leaders do. It's cult leader. It's cult leader type stuff. They come along, they posture themselves like they have the answer for life. They make you think that you too can benefit from their sage wisdom if you just, follow what they're saying. And if you just, try harder to emulate them or try harder to listen to what they're saying and apply their wisdom, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, they're profiting off of you in some way. Whether it's through their ego, through the attention you give them, or whether it's through the money you send them for their quote-unquote programs, right? The point is that when you buy into this, and really it's Satan. Really it's Satan who's, and I always use this analogy, when you put a carrot in front of people's, if people don't understand what I mean by that, these horses from the old times, what they used to do is they used to put a carrot in front of the horse's face. So the horse would run thinking he was going to catch that carrot, and he would never catch the carrot, because the whole point of the carrot is to keep the horse running. So as long as you're still running, you're in the matrix. The matrix just wants you to lose your focus, or excuse me, the matrix wants you to keep focusing on something that's not going to benefit you. The matrix wants you to keep working, which is so ironic that Andrew Tate always talks about slaves, in the matrix, in the corporate world, et cetera, when he's one of the biggest slave drivers. He's one of the biggest slave masters, because he's telling you to make money. His ultimate thing is make money so you can escape the matrix. Make money so that you can become happy and gain freedom. When in reality, that's like the rat with the cheese. That's the rat. That's the classic rat trap. Oh, come in and grab this cheese, and then whap, you're done. Come in and make money, make riches. And then what happens? You invest your time, you invest your soul, you invest your energy, you invest your mental, emotional, physical well-being into this thing that you think is going to make everything better for you. I mean, on the one hand, it might not. It may never work. On the other hand, when is it going to work? 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? You don't know what your life's going to be like in 5, 10, 15 years. And it sounds noble. I know, because I did this. It sounds noble. Put off your happiness today and grind, suffer, and have discipline so that in 5 years you can be a success. In 10 years you can be the man. You'll be the man then. Not necessarily. That's not a guarantee. There's no guarantee. That's a big risk, because you don't know what's going to happen. And the other thing is that, again, when you put off something today, you're depriving yourself. It sounds noble. It's like that's what discipline really is depriving myself so that I can be successful and woo. And it's like, who says that who says to be a human being that's what you have to do? Who says to be happy that's what you have to do? Who says that that's what real masculinity really is? Who cares? You know what I mean? It's like, at the end of the day, no one really cares about you in that way. So why not just be happy, Why not just enjoy your life? No one cares if your goal is to be rich and successful in 10 years. If you make it, they might care. But no one cares about your grind. It's the same thing with women. Like, they sit around at the finish line and they pick the winners. They don't care about your struggle. No one in the world cares about your discipline. No one in the world cares about your struggle, cares about how you put off, leisure and enjoyment so that you can be successful. No one cares about that. No one comes around and commends you and claps and, hey, here's an award for being so disciplined. No one gives a crap. All they care about is the finished product. So if you don't make it, they don't care about you. And they don't even really care about you. They just care about the success. Whether it's you or Tom or some other man, person, whoever can be interchangeable in that slot, they don't care. We just celebrate, I don't know, it's this crazy thing about humans, but we just celebrate winners. Nobody celebrates losers. Nobody celebrates people who almost made it. Nobody celebrates people who are on the grind. It's just all about winning. And that takes away the humanity in things. And there's no, well, there are stories, but there's very few stories about the people who almost made it, the losers. And it's really just kind of in passing. We don't really care. And yes, you'll say, well, I want to get rich for myself. I want to get rich so that I don't care if anybody acknowledges it. I just want the money. Blah, blah. Okay, but what if you don't make it? Then you wasted 10 years of your potential life that you could have been enjoying. Building relationships, going to ball games, spending time with family. And those are the things that you can't get back. You might be able to get money in 10 years. Maybe it'll work out for you. But you can't get back those moments. Because time is the one thing that you cannot buy. You can't buy time. And you can't buy genuine love. And you can't buy genuine relationships. And you can't buy the time that you spend, the genuine time, the genuine enjoyment and love and time with your friends and family. You can't buy that. You can't buy that because if it's genuine, then it has nothing to do with money, right? If it's genuine, it has nothing to do with your success, right? And it's a rat trap. It's a cage for young people. Because young people easily get caught up in that mentality. Oh, once I'm rich, then I'll be happy. Once I'm da-da-da-da. And it's like, you realize they just don't know because they're chasing this carrot. They don't know the real reality, which is that life can get really lonely if you don't have friends and family. Life can get really lonely if you don't have loved ones. Life can get really lonely if you don't have enjoyment and moments in your life where you really are genuinely happy. But if you're putting off all of that because you're somehow quote unquote disciplined, right? You're putting off all of that because in 10 years, your plan is to be a millionaire and this is how it's going to go down and da-da-da-da. Young people don't realize that they're missing out. Young people don't realize what they're sacrificing until it's too late, until 10 years down the road and they look back and they're like, wow. Because for some reason you don't notice these things as they're dissipating in your life. You notice them later on after they've dissipated. It's funny how that works. It's sad how that works. But this is why kids need quality parents. This is why kids need quality guidance. Why kids need somebody to tell them, hey, this isn't going to work probably. I'm not saying to not have a viable business plan. I'm not saying to not invest. I'm not saying to not have goals. I'm not saying to not self-improve. But are your goals realistic? Is your business plan viable? Those are deeper questions. Those are important questions. And I would say probably not. Probably not. Now, maybe you signed up for Hustlers University and you did actually start making some money. And if that's the case, great. More power to you. And I hope it works. But if it didn't, and you're in this pie in the sky mentality that maybe someday it'll work out for you, you should free yourself. Free yourself from that prison. Maybe Andrew Tate has helped some people, has helped some young men. I hope so. But I fear that a lot of his message is really just going to do more to enslave young men than free them. because I think he's selling a dream more than he's selling any kind of practical reality or practical steps. And I've heard that his Andrew Tate University or whatever is a bit sketchy, and the advice that and the teaching that's going on there is a bit sketchy. That's what I've heard. I don't know for sure because I never signed up for it. I don't know, but you can look it up. I think a guy named CoffeeZilla, a YouTuber named CoffeeZilla, talks about it and kind of exposes Hustlers University. He did some journalistic investigation apparently, and apparently it's not as on the level as the Tates want you to think it is. I don't know, but all I know and all I can say and impart for young men is that if you are putting your future happiness and your future goals and your future hope and potential all in this idea of someday getting rich, it's a pie in the sky dream that statistically most people will never reach. Statistically, it's not viable. And hopefully if you do, and if it is viable, it probably is going to take you 10 years. Now, I'm not saying there's no such thing as overnight successes. There is. But how often does that happen, you know? Nowadays, you can get on TikTok and share memes and make $200K a year, probably, from what I heard. But I don't know, man. Life's a trip, you know? Who knows? It works out for some people, and some people it doesn't. Some people have a plan and everything goes peachy. But is it 1 in every 5? Or is it 1 in every 1 million? You know, that's what you got to ask yourself. Do your studies, do your statistics, learn about what you want, think about what you want before you go after it, before you put all this hope in something. Don't be stupid and, I'm gonna become a millionaire and have no plan and don't really think it through and don't do a timeline don't figure out all the particulars, like how long is this going to take you, what do you got to do every day, know all that before you go into it. Anyway, it's been Jay Lee, Northwest Podcast. Appreciate you listening. Peace.